So one question I get asked all the time is when can I groom or scarify or verticut new grass seed? So today, what better example to show you than here at Former Britain's Best Lawn, which is looking absolutely fantastic. So I'm willing to put my money on the line and do it for you just to see the results. But I'm pretty sure nothing will go wrong because I've done it for many years and I know what's going to happen. So what we'll do is we'll get the verifying cartridge out and we'll give it a verify. So just have a quick walk over and show you. It's lovely and thick, but it could just do with thinning out a little bit. Just keep disease at bay, let's feed in. What we're going to put on after, we're just going to spray a bit of recovery, fertiliser on, Dan's Magic, bit of Sopro, bit of Grace. In this corner, we've never had so much grass seed success in this bottom corner. And if we have a look, you can just see where I did the verifying lines. When I put them in, I did 3 rows here, just to see what had happened. And I think you can just make them out. More so here, you just see the lines. So it's absolutely great, great success. So what we're going to do is we're going to try it out today when we're just going to give it like a verticut and use the verticutting side of it to do a verticut and the scarifying side of it just to pick up any debris. We've had loads of blossom falling, so that'll be in there. If we can get that out as well, it'll just help it breathe a bit more as well. And just keep it looking like this going forward, because for this time of year, I've just never seen it looking this good. Okay, so for those of you who aren't familiar with the verifying cartridge, it looks a bit dirtier than the first time that I showed it. So we've got the scarifying prongs in there, but then every so often we've got the verticutting attachments as well. So we call this a verifier, because last year I did a video where I didn't want to verticut and I didn't want to scarify, so I came up with the verify and then contacted Al and just said, look, I've come up with an idea, and they've put it into reality for me, and here it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a double pass down and up. I'm just going to follow the stripes that are already there today, so I don't want to do too much damage with it. I've just used it at Steve's, like I said in my short yesterday, and it worked pretty well. So the best thing to do is just put it in the sterling and let's try it, and that's how we're going to see how it works. But I don't want to go too deep. I'm just going to basically go, because these are a bit higher setted than the prongs, I don't want to go too deep because obviously they're going into the soil. So I'm just going to put them, graze in the soil, and then these will pick up any debris and any thatch that's lurking around and keep this looking really nice. Okay, so I've just done a test run. I'm on 0 on the verticutting dial on the side, on the measurement scale there, and I think that's enough. If I can drop it down, if I find it's not doing what I need to do on the second pass, I can always go a bit deeper, but for now it'll do. So what I'll do is I'll go this way first, but I need to get down there, and then we'll go up and down, and then we'll give it a cylinder cut, and everything should be looking really nice. And then we'll give it that feed that we talked about, just to help recover it from what we're doing today. And then tomorrow, rain for the first time in 30 odd days. Can't wait. So please, 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 rain, rain, rain. But just for a few days. We don't want the rest of the summer. So just a quick look at what we've taken up. As you can see, we're taking more green grass, like laterally growing grass, and anything that's just not quite standing up, then we are taking thatch out. But there is a bit of thatch, so that's the idea with the verifier. We've got the verticutting, which is taking off the side shoots, and then we've got the scarifying, removing all the dead growth as well. So it's a dual purpose entity, whereas normally we would have to do 2 passes with the machine in order to do this, but with this we're just doing it in one, which saves time and for me saves battery. I always like to do my work in the direction that I'm going to see the stripe last. So if you want to see the stripe from, for example, the window there, you would do what I'm doing second and do your long pass first, because it will appear on top when you're finished. And now I'm putting in the dominant stripe, so as you can see, the left to right stripes now disappear as though they're underneath my top stripe. Now if I was to do it the other way around, the left to right would appear to be on top, and you'd see it great from the kitchen window there, but I like to see it from this angle, which we're looking at it now. Okay, so that's a double pass done. You can see the verifying lines, and we've done a good job of picking up. We took about, I don't know, about 10 boxes off, full box. I filled the green bin anyway. So have a look close up before, have a look at how it looked when it was first, before I started the job. See how thick it is there, and it's still thick, but we can breathe. And if you remember my analogy about the bus, get too many people on, it all gets frustrated and sweaty in there. People start fighting. But here now, we've freed up, we've let people off, and everybody's a lot happier. And what's going to happen is now water can get in easier, feed can get in easier. We're going to spray it after, and that can get in easier. We're going to give it a water before we go anywhere, and then it'll rain overnight. So what we're going to do now is just pick up a few rogue things, leaves, etc. still knocking about, which are blown back on. Any grass that didn't quite get picked up because it was just falling back out because I couldn't be bothered emptying it. So I just kept going until I'd stopped. But yeah, let's get it cut left to right with a hater. Knock it down to number 2. Been cutting it on number 2 left to right. That gets you down to 22 mil, and then we can go on maybe at 21 with the cylinder that way, and let's see how it looks. Going left to right now, cutting with the hater Harrier 48 on setting number 2. Okay, so far so good. Rotary cut all done. Just making my way down now with the sterling on 21 mil. Never cut this low here, but because it's been so dry, the ground's so firm, we can do it. So just finishing off now with the Allet sterling at 20 mil, and I must say my blades are cutting absolutely fantastically at the moment. Never known them cut so good, so long may that continue, because as you can see the results are absolutely stunning. It looks like, somebody said in my comments, like an Axminster carpet. Okay, 20 past 2. Absolutely beautiful. Put some equilibrium on Thursday last week, 8 days ago, so that'll just be about to kick in as well. I don't think this calls for Brittany yet because there's still much more to give, but I'll tell you what it does call for, who I had actually forgotten lived in my locker, and that is Metal Man Randy Savage. Somebody reminded me in the comments, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about him. So there he is. What about, he also, and I said, oh, what about Ric Flair? Like, he goes, woo! Licks his fingers, I think, and then puts his hair back and gives it a woo! So yeah, let's have a look down here for you. See the lines, it's just really free. All stood up, all facing the right way, which means the cut is absolutely special. Or I was going to say spectacular, but I changed to special. That's why it sounded a bit funny. Look from here. Yes, I'm very happy with that. It's so firm underfoot, so firm. I've never known it like this. In firmness and the shortness, it's just beautiful. Let's just have another closer look up here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look up close. See, all nicely stood up. Little rows. And when it's like that, it's an absolute dream to cut with the cylinder mower. Oh yeah. All right, that's a lawn cutting done here. Before we put the recovery spray on, let's just nip over to Charlie and see how I got on earlier on this morning with the verifier. All right, welcome back to Charlie. We're in Howard's back garden. We're going to be using the verifying cartridge. It's going to do 3 things. It's going to give us a verticut, it's going to give us a little scarifier, and it's going to pick up all this wisteria blossom. It's never blossomed so much in its life, but I think that's because of the dry weather. It's absolutely loving it. So we'll do just one way, just because it's a newly seeded lawn. I don't want to go overboard and it doesn't need it. We just need to tickle it a little bit. Then we'll give it a double cut and see how it looks, and then we'll go and do the front and see how that looks as well. So I'm looking forward to it, so let's get cracking. Quick look at what's come out. This is great if you want it to feed now, just to clean it up, just to get all this necrotic stuff out. There's a lot of water gone on here in the last month. So generally you're going to get a bit of degradation of the leaf. So we're pulling all that out. Not that it needs a feed today, but if you was going to, then verticutting lines are just going to open that sward up a little bit more so granular can get through easier. But on the whole, very pleased with what I pulled out there. So I think it's safe to say at this point, we can verify a lawn or groom a lawn, which has been up around 6 weeks from seeding. Well, 8 weeks from seeding, it come through about 2 weeks after. So yeah, we did this on end of March, didn't we? So it's about 7 weeks ago. So we can safely say we can get the grooming cartridges out after 7 weeks on an overseeded lawn. So up close, going a bit closer, even though I've been cutting at 23, it's stood it up somewhat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the hater out. I'm going to cut it with the rotary just to get it down a bit, because we're going with the cylinder a bit short. It was just going to be filling the bag too much. So we just want to go over with the hater, and that will take away that stress, and then we'll go over finish with the sterling this way, and then we'll have a lovely tartan stripe to show you. Okay, so as at former Britain's Best Lawn, we're getting on with the rotary on number 2, just because that ground's so firm, it'll take number 2. If it was slightly moist and there was a bit of sinkage in the lawn, then we would be scalping and we'd have to do it on 3. But at the moment, we can get away with it on 2. And if you just notice in the borders, I don't know if you can see, me and Lloyd have been busy. He was up pruning the pleached hedges and all around the front, whilst I was putting the bedding in. We've done the containers, we've put non-stop begonias in the beds. So in a month when we come back probably and have a look, hopefully we'll be back before then, but when we come back next time and they've taken, it will be a show-stopping display of flowers. All right, so I've just give it a quick water, just pre-wet it, ready for the rain tonight so it absorbs easy. That's one way to get the most out of your watering as well before rain, is to pre-water, just to soften those molecules so that then the water can pass right through instead of getting surface runoff. But if we just have a look up close now, we can see how it's groomed. We've got everything stood up right, and I've been able to cut at 20mm, which I've never done here on the back. So it's happy days. It's very happy days here. Just look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we're just around the front of Howard's. Not really done a follow-up here since I did the renovations at the end of March, but as you can see, it's looking absolutely beautiful. It's been a hard slog, let me tell you. Plenty of water, plenty of visits. It's been like daily visits and daily cuts at the moment, getting that sward really tight. We're trying to get it as close as we can and as short as we can. We're just pushing limits. When we finish the job, we actually end up at 15mm today. We're just giving it one pass with the verifying cartridge and a double cut with the cylinder. So I'm just going up and down. I want my dominant stripes left to right, so I'm doing my up and downs first. I did actually, even though I did say earlier my blades were cutting brilliant, I hit a stone and I just knocked them out of kilter a little bit, so I just had to go and get my screwdriver and adjust them a little bit, but got them back luckily, and it cut absolutely fantastic. So I did my up and down, and then because I want to see the stripes as a driving, and so does Howard, we now go this way, and then that pushes the up and down stripes below, and then these become the dominant stripe. And like I said, we're at 15mm, so that's where we got to last year. So if I keep going 3 times a week cutting, we're going to end up just like that at 15, and who knows, even shorter. So Howard's there looking absolutely bob on. So we're just back here putting our recovery spray on, Dan's Magic, So Pro and Grace. And remember, as soon as it rains in Bolton, that 20% off the So Pro, Grace and Wet Agent is finished. All right, because we've only put Dan's Magic, So Pro and Grace on, there's no need to leave it sat on the leaf. We're just going to wash it straight through and get that in, take advantage of those new lines where it can just seep through right to the roots, where it's really going to get taken up. And then next week it's going to be absolutely beautiful again, and we just start the process again, regularly mowing. And then what we do is then, in another couple of weeks, we're going to do the verifying again. Don't get me wrong, the lawn should look good, but don't be thinking like Wembley. It looks like Wembley every game. Like I've said, every time you see it, you only see for one day, one 90-minute session. But in the rest of the time, they're just doing all this work behind the scenes, getting it ready for that one special day. So hopefully it's giving you the confidence to try it yourself. So even though we've got rain coming, we're not going to get the rain in this corner because it's covered by this tree. I think it's a purple hazel, she said. I'm not quite sure. I know all my trees apart from that one. So I'm just going to give this a bit extra, get it ready, and then I'm just going to literally just wash it off the leaf. I'm just going to go by cube, giving it a bit of water. Everything else is going to get watered. It's just this corner won't. Might get a few big drops, but we don't want to come in on Monday and find it's not had anything and frazzled. Because as we get into the height of the summer, as the summer gets hotter and hotter, all the hedges and trees are going to be taking more and more from the surface underneath the lawn. So we're going to really have to concentrate on this area because I want to keep it nice, because like I said before, this is the best results we've ever had in this corner of overseeding. I think we had leather jackets early doors, hence why it was in such a bad state of repair. We'll do this, and then what we'll do is, because I just want to give the ultimate answer, is how soon can we like verticut or groom or verify after laying new seed. We're going to go over to the Galactic project, which was seeded I think on March 31st or just a few days before. So that's 5 or 6 weeks old now. So we'll give it a go on there and see what it does there. I'm confident it won't do much harm because it's quite well rooted. We'll just not go as deep because it needs feeding and spraying as well, because it's not been done recently. I want to take advantage of the rainfall there as well. So I'll just get this done quickly and I'll see you over there. Right, back at Galactic. So what we're going to do is we're just going to whip over this with the verifying cartridge. We'll just do one pass because it's brand new. We don't need much to add anything in it that needs to come out. There's just loads of cherry blossom in there, as you know, when that were falling, a few leaves knocking around, and there will be some necrotic growth in there which we'll get out as well. But on the whole, this is just going to be a very, very light pass. So let's do it and let's see the results on a newly seeded lawn, not just an overseeded lawn. So we'll just get on with the verifying cartridge, just doing it on 0, and it's looking at an absolute treat. Again, this job has not been without problems, just been so dry, and it's an absolute wind tunnel, this road. As you can see there, the trees moving, and just shows you how windy it is. So I'm glad we're seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Yep, held up really well, no issues whatsoever. The other thing you've got to be careful is obviously if you've got a concrete edge, be careful you don't nick it with the verticutting blades. But yeah, other than that, it's just as good as it was at Britain's Best Lawn. It's not ripped any grass out or anything, so all good. What we'll do is now is we'll switch the cartridge over, cylinder cut, give it that spray. I was going to put some granular feed on, but it's just a bit of Brillo pad effect up there. So we'll just get the recovery spray on and give it a good douse of water. And I know I say like you shouldn't be putting anything on, but it's literally just on the cusp of Brillo pad, so we'll get away with it, I hope. So just finishing off now with a cylinder cut, 18 mil. So we'll see how short we can get with this one over the summer, but for now that is fine. And I'm just using the leftovers of the recovery spray here, and we'll get that watered in. Just giving it a quick dose, just concentrating on those areas that have the Brillo pad, but it'll all be fine. All right, so that's this video done, and I think we've answered the question. I think the minimum time is 4 weeks, but really we want to be leaving it 5 or 6. Got away with it here, but we're going to spend a lot of time here. We've got it up and running, and the seeds all come through. But if you're still struggling with your seed coming through, I wouldn't go on just yet. But I think 6 weeks, we'll call it, is absolutely guaranteed to be absolutely fine. So join us next time when we're doing something else lawn related here on Daniel Hibbert Lawn Expert. And remember that 20% ends as soon as it rains here in Bolton. So grab yourself a bargain whilst you can. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Take care, and we'll see you soon.